Welcome to Mosaico, the channel putting pieces together. This episode today is not necessarily an episode, but knowing my background, many people have asked me to report some news about the current situation in Palestine. I talked to a person a few days ago who said to me that basically I have a responsibility sharing what I know about the situation in Palestine, especially because in Europe/UK, our media and the population, our peers, tend to be a little bit brainwashed or at least ignorant about it. But in this episode, I am basically going to explain why I will not be reporting on the current situation in Palestine. First of all, I think I've been reading about Palestine since I was 16, and I read the classics, Edward Said, Ilan Pappe, Noam, Chomsky, and Ilan Pappe. And I remember following journalists that I liked really, really much, such as Amira, Gideon, Levi, and Fisk. I think I can fairly say that all these sources are still around, except for Fisk, who died. Just recently, I read this book called Justice for Some and the Question of Palestine by Noura, Erakat, who is a human rights lawyer in the United States. I find her extremely knowledgeable and on point, so I really advise checking out her books. I will put everything in the description below. Also, between probably 16 and 19, I used to be part of a small political party. Left-wing political party, and one of the things we did was setting up free events, classes, seminars to try to have discussions and teach, in a way, to whoever wanted to know more about the Palestinian situation back then. But obviously we were very independent, the whole thing wasn't founded, and so sometimes it ended up being messy. But I still put all of my heart and soul in the project. What I'm trying to get at is that I am not an expert on this matter. No matter how much I've been trying to learn and inform myself, there are going to be people out there who do this as a job. There are many journalists and writers, academics that know way more than I do, and please listen to them or read what they write. I will totally make sure to mention them to you. The thing about the Palestinian situation is that it is a lifetime commitment. And especially if you picked your side, there are so many implications, technicalities, nuances. And so I really believe that not everybody can open a channel and start talking about Palestine. Unfortunately, Mosaico was created right before this happened. And so even if I may have a lot of knowledge, there's definitely someone that can give you a better service. And hopefully we're going to have someone on the podcast at some point. Unfortunately, this crisis is going to go on for a while. Second reason that really doesn't want to make me be involved right now is the social media frenzy that honestly also expands to newspapers and other kind of media. As I was saying before, many of these people on social media and on mainstream media aren't even experts in the area, aren't even experts about the question. And so I really don't know what they're doing there. And I don't want to be there and just, fight with them on social media, which I've done a little bit. And I was called a terrorist, anti-Semitic, Hamas supporter, and murderer. So after taking the abuse, I thought to write to some major media channels. I am currently in touch with the New York Times, the Times, Financial Times, and The Economist. Obviously, aside from the New York Times, all the other media are a little bit, center, right-wing, and so it's not really easy to have the sort of answers I really want. But I'm trying, and to some degree, certain steps are being made, not because I've written, but because there are many people who are hugely disappointed by Western medias and want more context. We all need that. And so let's get into the third and last reason why we're not going to have an episode on Palestine quite yet. What I said in that post on Instagram is the truth. I really do not have the emotional capacity right now to dive into this. because I'm both disappointed professionally and emotionally. Yes, of course, I'm a trainee criminal lawyer and I very frequently write about international legal issues, especially human rights issues when I'm writing as a journalist. But I'm just really disappointed lately. I'm not sure I believe in international legal justice anymore and international human rights law. I am disappointed by the International Criminal Court and the United Nations apparatus entirely. And that's too bad because I always believed in the United Nations. I wanted to work for them. And especially, I believed that accountability mechanisms could be advanced by legal professionals. Well, idealist legal professionals like me and you who may be listening to this podcast. Thank God there's so many things to talk about in the world that will not be a loss for Mosaico. And now a bonus reason why I will not be talking about Palestine these days. Years ago, I fell in love with someone who is really connected to the region, let's say. And unfortunately, the relationship didn't go really well. And so the situation in Palestine is emotionally impacting me a lot lately. So I don't want to risk having biases when I'm reporting about it. I don't want to be in that position when I'm deciding to talk about something and maybe neglecting something else because I have my own personal biases. Honestly, that wouldn't be fair and it is a disservice for everybody. Also, I think it wouldn't be respectful for this person and this family if I ranted about stuff because of my biases. But mostly, we need to tell Palestinian stories in the most accurate way that we know. And so please, you who are listening, go out and research for sources that provide a good context. I will put some in the description below and I'm gonna try to keep that updated, but I hope you really check them out. There are a lot of people right now getting informed on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, I guess. I don't know what Elon Musk did to that, but yeah, I think Twitter is still there. We need to be sure that we read our news in there from people with brains because they're teaching and potentially forming future generations on this matter. But just give me a little bit of time and rest assured that Mosaico is going to jump in really soon. For now, we have another episode coming up this week, and then next week we probably gonna have an episode in French, and then a Q&A, my favorite. So start thinking of questions. I am ready to answer anything you ask. I just want to leave you with a thought now. So, I'm not an Arab, not entirely. And so, unfortunately, many times Arabs looked at me as if I don't understand anything. But I do. I really do understand, especially the situation in Palestine. And I would like to help in any way I can. And so, if you have any idea of how I can provide some help, any kind of help, please let me know and I'll try and do everything that's in my power to do that. And remember, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Ciao belli, see you next time.